Hello, welcome to the Building Contemporary China course with Dijia and Chen. We are both more than happy to welcome you to explore contemporary Chinese architecture and urbanism together with us in the coming fall semester. This is an inclusive class for everyone without any prerequisite. It aims to stimulate an intellectual and practical understanding of contemporary architecture in post-reform China. Students are expected to study and critically analyze how the specific patterns of modernization, urbanization, and reform socialism shape the diverse architectural production models in China. Therefore, the course sets up a coordinate system between international and local, independent and collective. To start with, we introduce the historical framework that necessitated the diverse design practices in China after the opening up policy, as well as how the course is structured by different models of architectural production in the socialist market economy. The goal is to give students, especially those without any background knowledge, an overview of the architectural production in China before we dive into more specific categories. This is the part 1 for collective and normative practices. Firstly, it covers the establishment of China's collective design system within which state-owned design institutes were playing a dominant role. Then it introduces the first waves of international impacts to Chinese architecture practices since the 1990s, marked by the entrance of foreign design firms and their collaboration with the local design institutions. Week 4 explores Design Institute's fundamental characteristics as technical, national, and socio-economic institutions for large-scale design production, while keeping their cultural self-consciousness. It further connects with broader urban landscapes of Chinese cities, especially the trinity of land financialization, infrastructure network, and real estate development that bolster China's new town urbanization, illustrating Design Institute's responsive and institutional influence on Chinese contemporary urbanism in both speed and scale. We will expand the discourse with two supplementary trajectories of rural development and overseas practice. In this section, it introduces an official narrative of the beautiful countryside and the systematic transplantation of China's domestic urbanization experience in the developing world. After introducing the state-run and mainstream production model, we will address the independent and alternative practices that emerged against the state-planned system due to the burgeoning market economy and the cultural fever. First of all, experimental architecture is a marginal movement in architecture that was inspired by modern artists with political commitments in the late 1980s. It was also the origin of independent architects in China. We further categorize the independent architects inspired by the experimental movements into three types according to their education and career backgrounds. Starting from here, we discuss how their backgrounds shape their design philosophies and encourage students to choose one type to do the case studies. We also look into how international cultural exchange activities, such as exhibitions, forums, and journals, present these independent Chinese architects as the future representatives of contemporary Chinese architecture. Through the 2021 MoMA exhibition on contemporary Chinese architecture, we analyze how independent studios practice against the mega modernization process in China with social and environmental commitments through rural revival projects. After analyzing the rural projects as a resistance, we also introduced their megacity-based projects, which were assigned to them after their gradual recognition by the Chinese authority. The last part is the mixed models of architectural production. It firstly introduces the dualistic identities of architects between collective design institutes and independent studios. Then it looks into the closely embedded interaction between graduate education system and professional practice in Chinese architecture schools. At last, the course evaluation is pretty simple. So welcome on board and see you in next fall.